Stand clear of the closing doors, please.
The thumbnail says it all. That's everything you need to know about this Mets team right now. What a freaking disgrace. What a joke the 2025 Mets are. Destiny in their own hands. All you got to do is win the games in front of you. And they come out and they play exactly how they have played the majority of the season since June. The past 4 months that the Mets have played with their heads up their asses. And tonight, we got each of those little individual things on full display as the Mets are kicked in the teeth by the Miami freaking Marlins and Sandy Alcantara. And now all they can do is hope that they are going to get some help on the scoreboard, which they are not currently at the moment in either of the two games that they have a rooting interest in. But you know what? Who even cares at this point? This team is about as sloppy and unprepared and just completely unfocused as any Mets team that I have seen in my 30 plus years on this planet. This is an absolute embarrassment to Mets fans that we are watching this team continue to make horrific play in the field game after game after game. Physical errors being compounded with mental mistakes. Huge 5-6 run innings every damn game against them. As Carlos Mendoza, for some reason, decides to pull the plug on Brandon Sproat in the middle of the 5th inning, who had been cruising to that point, to go to the gas can that is Gregory Soto. Another wonderful trade addition at the deadline this year by David Stearns, who promptly lets this game blow wide the F open, and the Mets bats go down silent the rest of the way as the Marlins get their wish. The Marlins get exactly what they wanted. They push Sandy Alcantara back, not to pitch yesterday when they were still alive for the postseason. No. They don't care about making the playoffs. They care about ruining the Mets season. Again, on full freaking display. Sandy Alcantara getting rudely greeted by Francisco Lindor in the 1st inning with a bomb to lead this game off. And I thought, man, maybe this is going to be the time that the Mets really actually build on some momentum. Maybe this is finally the game where the Mets can put the pedal to the metal, knock Alcantara out. They get an RBI double from Pete Alonso. Some bad luck in the 2nd there when Francisco Lindor lines into the double play. But then Pete Alonso with a real poor at-bat with Juan Soto on 2nd and nobody out. Striking out. Jeff McNeil can't get it done either. And you just felt like that was a turning point in this game. You just felt like it was, because from there, Sandy Alcantara cruised. The Mets couldn't touch him again, at one point retiring 12 straight batters, something along those lines, all on the ground. Meek at bat after meek at bat from the Mets against him. And the freaking Marlins get their wish. He pitches into the 8th freaking inning for them. It all starts, of course, there in the 5th inning. Leadoff base hit. Then the double down the right field line that just barely touches the chalk to score 2 days in a row that the Mets have a ball just barely hit the chalk on the foul line against them. Tell me the universe is not at work. Tell me. That sets the whole inning up. And don't think I'm absolving the Mets of any blame at all, because I am not. But the universe truly is trying to make this as painful as possible for the Mets fan. And then after that, you get a ground ball to Pete at first. He fields that first one cleanly, can't field the second one cleanly. Excellent job, Pete. Excellent job. The run comes home to score to give the Marlins the lead. And then you go to Soto. Or I guess you had already went to Soto at that point. Xavier Edwards is on first. I'm sorry, the catcher. Augustin Ramirez is on first. He steals second. He steals third. Ronnie Mauricio with the brain fart doesn't cover third base. The mental errors I was just talking about. and then a 2-run freaking homer to just put the exclamation mark on this game. This Mets team sucks. I'm just going to say it. I don't care if they get the help in the wild card chase. If the Brewers end up coming back to win today, if the Padres end up winning their game today, the Mets don't deserve to go to the playoffs. They are a bad team. They are a bad fundamental team. They are a bad team on defense. They do not have good at-bats at the plate when they fall behind. Their pitching staff is completely shattered and tattered and just in shambles. This Mets team is hot garbage. And we are watching them just do exactly what they have done for the last 3+ months. I don't know why I would even let it upset me anymore at this point. Maybe it was that little false glimmer of hope in that first inning when they scored 2 runs. Little did I know that would be all they'd get. Just one more hit from the 3rd inning on. This is an embarrassment. I am so disgusted by this team. What's up, guys? Tony Metro. You guys know the deal. Daily Mets content, post-game recap after every Mets game. You can follow me on all the other platforms, TikTok, Instagram, Twitter. Links to all of those are in the description of this video down below. Leave this video a like. Really appreciate it, guys. Helps the channel a lot. Gets more Mets fans here so we can continue to commiserate about what a disgusting, ugly, horrible team this is. Augustin Ramirez, the freaking catcher, stealing second and then taking third with Ronnie Mauricio's head up his ass. 2-out base hit from Xavier Edwards to make it 4-2. You might as well stop that 4-2. The Mets weren't coming back from down 4-2. See the friggin' at-bats that they had in this game after the 3rd inning? What a friggin' disgrace. You didn't get to Sandy Alcantara enough early. You worked the pitch count pretty well, but then you didn't cash in enough. Some bad luck off the bat of Lindor on the line drive double play to first base because the line drive that goes to Pete Alonso is just slightly to his right and deflects off his glove. But when Lindor laces one right at the Marlins first baseman, double it up and that inning. Because the universe hates the Mets. But it's not just the universe at work. No. The Mets play like garbage every time it matters. The Mets don't know how to build on good momentum. They are allergic to having nice things, and it has amounted to torture for us as Mets fans. Let's go to the chat. Jimmy James C. This is the most disgraceful team I can remember in my lifetime. I've never had a worse time watching the Mets in my life. Not even 07, 08. I'm still not going to say those collapses were not as bad as this one or that this year's collapse is worse, but I did not have as enjoyable of a time watching those teams as I have had watching this team. This is just awful. The worst that I've seen in my life. Jimmy, it's a gutless team. June 13th, Mets, look it up, sell the team. Yep. Awful. I mean, I'm not saying sell the team. I'm not going to agree with you there, but it's since June 13th, essentially the worst team in baseball. The Marlins are like the 4th best team in baseball. I can't get over the fact they rearranged their rotation to have Sandy Alcantara pitch against us tonight when he could have pitched or should have pitched yesterday while they were still actually alive for the postseason. I mean, what Bush League crap from the Marlins. But at the end of the day, they get to have the last laugh. To the victor go the spoils. And the Marlins, once again in a huge game that the Mets need, just beat their ass. Embarrass them 2 days to Sunday. The Mets don't field the ball well. They don't pitch well. I hate the decision by Carlos Mendoza to pull Brandon Sproat there in the middle of the 5th inning. Had only given up 1 hit entering that 5th inning. I understand he gives up 3 consecutive hits to start that inning. The pitch count is still below 60. Had pretty good command in this one. Had his breaking pitches working. And you choose to go to Gregory Soto for a handful of right-handers coming up in the Marlins order? What was he thinking? What an awful choice by Carlos Mendoza to go to Gregory Soto there. First of all, to even pull Brandon Sproat, but second of all, to go to Soto, I'm beside myself. Nicholas McFarland, Marlins sweep Mets, wouldn't be surprised at this point, would you? This would be perfect way to sum up the 2025 Mets, for them to go out without a whimper and get swept by the Marlins, who have nothing to play for. Would not be surprised at all. Mark Rapp Mendoza needs to be fired. It's ridiculous. You know what? I am on the board now. Where anything that they do this offseason, I will not be upset by. If they fire Carlos Mendoza, I will not bat an eye, because night after night, this team looks unprepared, unfocused, and completely lethargic in the biggest games of the season. For 4 frigging months, this has gone on. So if they fire Carlos Mendoza, I'm sorry, that falls on the manager. I am not opposed to it at this point. Anything goes. Don't care if they end up backing into the playoffs anyway, which at this very moment does not look very good with the Reds leading the Brewers right now. The Reds win today, they are in the driver's seat for the rest of this weekend. Another choke job by the New York freaking Mets. Wonderful. Let's see. D-Rouse, what's up, champ? Just checking on you. Gave it a season already. Mendoza gotta go. Yep. I hear you, D-Rouse. Appreciate you tuning in, man. Yep. Not doing well here. Not doing well at all, actually. This is ridiculous. You lose Brett Beatty in this game. The Mets have to put Ronnie Mauricio in. Of course, he has the mental mistake allowing Ramirez to take third on that play. Not that it mattered because Gregory Soto gave up a base hit to Xavier Edwards anyway. It is a just comedy of errors from this team on a nightly basis. It is pitching, it is fielding, it is mental mistakes, it is a lethargic lineup that is allergic to a big hit. 1 for 10 with runners in scoring position tonight. 1 for freaking 10. Mark Vientos gets the pinch hitting opportunity with the bases loaded there in the 8th inning. Did you really think even if he hit a grand slam and tied this game that the Mets were going to find a way to score any more runs and win this game and hold it down? Let's be real. When have the Mets shown you that outside of Tuesday against the Cubs, that they have a backbone, that they have a spine, that they could actually put together some quality at-bats and get back on the horse and win a game like this? One friggin' time they did it. And it just happened on Tuesday against Chicago. A disgrace. Edward, Christian Aquan, Ronnie sleeping at third. Pete bobbled a lot of balls. Gregory Soto versus righties. This is just the second year of supporting the Mets, and this is kind of disappointing. I guess if you're down, only way is up. Edward, welcome to the roller coaster that is the Mets. Unfortunately, it is a lot more downs than it is ups, and this is a down. Last year was an up. Last year was magical. All that magic pitching dust that the Mets had in the run on that second half run and into the postseason last year, they must have used it all up because this team is allergic to winning. I've said it for months now, guys, on all my streams. This team finds a new way to lose every single day. Mendoza with the decision to pull Sproat for Soto with a bunch of right-handers coming to the plate. Head scratching at best. Then you have Pete Alonso, who continues to show why teams are not going to pay him the $150 million that so many fans want the Mets to hand him. He's not a good first baseman. He costs the team. He very nearly threw the double play the previous inning over Lindor's head. And then he bobbles that ball. So instead of a play at the plate, they have to take the out at first. That opens the door for the huge inning with Soto on the mound. And just piss poor at bats against Sandy Alcantara. But really, what did you expect? Because you have Luis Torrens in there. You have Cedric Mullins in there because Tyrone Taylor can't play a 4th consecutive game coming off of his hamstring injury. You end up having to replace Brett Beatty because he has an injury. Guess what? Doubt we're seeing him again this weekend. So bye-bye. That's probably the end of Brett Beatty's season. Ronnie Mauricio doesn't do anything at the plate. Costs you in the field, though. It's just a joke, man. It's an absolute joke what this team has become. Sour Mets, it's over, man. It's over, man. I don't know how else I'm going to watch, obviously, keep doing the streams here the rest of this weekend, but I don't see how it turns for this team. If you don't mind me while I adjust my camera here. We're having some real issues with the ring light here, ladies and gentlemen, but hopefully that's better. I think I'm in frame. There we go. Yeah, look at me. Like a doctor. Henry Campos, Carlos Beltran will manage next year and take us all the way. I mean, everybody wants Carlos Beltran as the manager. I keep hearing that. I mean, we at this point, I want a manager with some actual experience because this team needs to get whipped into shape. This team looks dead in the biggest of moments, and that 100% does fall on the manager. Wow, what a horrible angle you guys just had in my face. I apologize again while I try to get my ring light to stand up. I mean, just like the Mets season right now, my stream is falling apart because of this freaking ring light. I mean, it is so poetic. It is just so fitting. I've had this same ring light since day one of this season. It was upright and it was firm for the entire first few months of the season, but it has slowly been doing what it's doing right now, as you can see, where I have to continuously adjust it. So Hold the phone here. Temporary technical difficulties, but I'm going to get to all you guys in the chat. Guys, sound off. What's the deal? Are the Mets going to make the playoffs? Because at this rate, I don't see how it happens. I just don't. The Reds are about to win in Milwaukee. The Diamondbacks have an early lead. And the Mets can't find a way to beat the freaking Marlins whenever it matters the most. This is a tale as old as time, guys. I think that's good. It's still a little high. I apologize. I'm so sorry you had to see that horrible, horrible angle. I know there's not a lot of good angles of my face, but that one was probably really bad. All right, we're back, I think. Hopefully this is going to hold up for the rest of the stream. Back to the chat. Luis Mateo, how you bring a guy like Soto to your team and then this is your rotation? How David Stearns didn't think that the Mets were going to need to get a starting pitcher at the trade deadline. And how about this quote, by the way, from Carlos Mendoza? We continue to make those mistakes. It's costing us games on fundamentals. There's only 2 left. How have you not addressed it at this point? That has to fall on the freaking manager at some point. Make them run laps in practice. I don't know. This is just unbelievable from a professional team with a $365 million payroll fighting for a playoff spot. And this is how they are ending the season. With a stinker, an absolute clunker of a game against a team that has nothing to freaking play for. That has done this to your franchise for years, that just won 3 out of 4 and essentially took you out of the division race back in August. If you can't get up for this game, I don't know how you get up for any of them, and that has to fall on this manager. What an absolute joke. Luis Mateo, when Brazabon was available, look, again, not getting a starter at the deadline, again, by the way, I want to finish that thought, is just horrific because look what we got. Sproat looked like he could have continued in this one. Even at 3-2, you still probably give him the 6th inning because his pitch count was low and he was really solid the first 2 times through the order for the most part, but Carlos Mendoza had other ideas. Let's go to Gregory Soto. Joe says Mets can't play a full game without fumbling the ball. The Mets are just a horrible defensive team. An awful defensive team. Pete has cost them. Soto is not a great right fielder, as we know. Third base is an issue if it's not Brett Beatty, and even when it is Brett Beatty, it's not always perfect. Center field, if it's not Tyrone Taylor, it's a disaster. Cedric Mullins. You had Jose Siri dropping balls out there. Second base, Jeff McNeil, he probably gets overlooked, but really has not been a great defensive second baseman either. A couple nice plays sprinkled in there. This team is just not fundamentally sound. They are not a good defensive team, and when you combine it with having a pitching staff that is an absolute joke, you have no chance to win games. I saw this stat today. How about this one? The Phillies, who are enjoying a 90-plus win season and another National League East title, 83 quality starts for their rotation this year. You know how many the Mets have? 38. 38 quality starts for the Mets this year. The Phillies have 83. 50, almost 45 more than the Mets. That should be impossible. Quality start used to be like 6 runs, 3 innings. Like, that ain't that great. The Mets would beg for 6 runs and 3 innings from somebody in their rotation. Disgraceful. The Great Baseball Quiz Show. No fight, Mets. There's no fight. There's no heart. This team is just dead. They don't look like they care. They don't look like they understand that the season is on the line. No fight. Even the Marlins have more freaking fight than the Mets. They fall behind 2-0 and they rally for 6 runs in the 5th inning. Mets can't touch Alcantara. They can't touch the 2-3 guys that they used out of the bullpen tonight. Just an absolute disgrace. No fight at all. Jose Lopez says Mendoza just follows what the analytics say. He doesn't use his baseball knowledge and baseball instincts. I don't even know if he has baseball instincts at this point. I don't know what he's thinking to go to Soto with a handful of right-handers coming up there. That is where the game is on the line. Sometimes the most important at-bat, the most important part of the game doesn't always happen in the 7th, 8th, or 9th. Sometimes it does happen in the 4th or the 5th or the 6th. So how you don't go to Tyler Rogers there or maybe to Brooks Raley, who again is a lefty but is at least an effective lefty against pretty much anybody, is just mind-numbing. To Gregory freaking Soto, a disgrace. Nikos, there are too many players on this team that have to go. It's sad. Mendy stinks. He's a joke of a coach. Stearns left this team without starting pitching, relying on rookies to save the season. Couldn't have said it any better myself, Nikos. It falls on everybody. It falls on Mendy and his managing, but then you also have to look at what he has to work with. And that is a rotation that is completely barren of anybody that can give him a quality start. A bullpen that has essentially been a disaster outside of 2 or 3 guys. And even then, it's usually just Edwin Diaz who you trust the most in this group. A lineup that is hot and cold like no other I've ever seen in my life. It's all around blame. Terrible job by Stearns in the offseason. Terrible job by Stearns at the deadline. Mendy has not been able to get the most out of it like he did last year. And, of course, the responsibility that has to fall on the players as well, who have come up short and without any fight or heart all season long. A disgrace. Back to the chat. Let's see. Sandman Games, what's up? He says, Pain, OMG to SMH. Get out the Jack boys. Such a joke, man. Couldn't have said it any better, Sandman. From OMG to SMH, that is what I am doing 90% of Mets games. Shaking my head. I don't enjoy watching the 2025 Mets. I don't know if you guys feel this way. I actually get a lot of anxiety before every Mets game. I don't enjoy this season. This has just been miserable. This has just been a catastrophe. It has been a long train wreck for 3+ months. And they just continue to just go off the rails and crash even harder. It is just like nothing I've ever seen before. Damien says, Mets fatigue. They are trash and it's my team. They stink. They're almost 500. This is shameful. This is shameful. It is. Mets fatigue, 100%, man. I couldn't say it any better myself. I, of course, am not hoping that they don't make the playoffs, but what a sigh of relief I am going to have if it doesn't happen. If the Mets don't make it and I'm done with these streams for a little while, of course, I'm going to have off-season content for you guys, so be sure to subscribe. Be sure to leave this video a like. Go ahead and do that right now. If you're a frustrated Mets fan like me, or maybe you're a fan of opposing team that is here to drink Mets fan tears, well, you're in the right place. But go ahead and leave this video a like. We'll have off-season content. But as I was saying, what a relief it is going to be for me when the Mets eventually finish this season, because I can't take it, man. Mets fatigue. This team has just invented new ways to lose since 1962, and this is one of, if not the worst seasons that I have watched as a Mets fan. You consider the circumstances, the payroll, bringing in Soto this offseason, what they did last year, 5th year under Steve Cohen, the farm system coming together. It's absolutely disgraceful to watch this team. Jimmy James C, was Tyrone hurt? Why did Mullins start? They said that Tyrone Taylor couldn't start a 4th consecutive game because he's coming back from that hamstring injury, and they got into Miami at 4 a.m. last night. Not really going to make a difference, in my opinion, to be honest with you. You got a horrible pitching performance from Gregory Soto there, and the rest of the Mets bats went limp the rest of the game. So, yeah, I would have liked to have Tyrone Taylor in there, but I don't think it actually kills them as much to have Mullins, although, again, another hitless performance from him. Wonderful acquisition at the deadline by David Stearns. You knew that this lineup was limp dick for multiple months, and your big acquisition was to trade for Cedric Mullins, who had some of the worst offensive and defensive metrics in Major League Baseball this year. Excellent, excellent acquisition by David Stearns. Really, got to give it up for the guy. Boy genius out of Harvard. Thinks he's smarter than everybody in the room. Watch me sign Frankie Montas and patchwork this rotation with duct tape, glue, and spit. Paul Blackburn, we're going to bring him back. Tyler McGill's going to be a part of this rotation. Surely that will work. Griffin Canning. We don't need to bring back Severino or Quintana or sign one of the bigger names or trade for Garrett Crochet. No. I'm David Stearns. I'm the boy genius from Harvard. You see what the Brewers are doing right now? That's because of me. That's what David Stearns said. And speaking of the Brewers, I see the Reds are still leading them 3-1 going into the 9th inning. So it's looking like the Mets are going to get bounced out of the final wild card spot here tonight. And Arizona also leading their game over the Padres 2-0. It does not look like the Mets are going to be able to rely on any more help. And guess what? They don't deserve any more help. Because you know what? They got a 2 out of 3 from the Pirates over the Reds this week. They got the Dodgers to win 2 out of 3 from the Diamondbacks this past week. And the Mets did their job. They won 2 out of 3. But before that, they spit the bit and lost 2 out of 3 to the Nationals. And now they come out tonight and they look like dog shit. The Mets don't deserve any more help on the scoreboard watching. The Mets need to go win games, and it might be too late now because it's looking like the Reds are going to take over in the final wild card spot. And all they got to do is finish tied with us. What a friggin' disgrace, man. David Diaz, Absol, don't want to bring this up, Tony, but so far 6-8. Absol is a loyal follower here. He predicted the Mets would go 6-10 in their final 10 games, and boy, if they get swept by Miami, you will be correct, and I will be, I don't even know. I'm out of words at that point. If the Mets ended up getting swept this weekend, oh my goodness gracious, what a fucking joke this team is. Livestream 78, it's karma. You can see it. The Reds are getting in. This will end in a tie with the Reds on Sunday, and the Reds will get in via the tiebreaker. Book it. Wouldn't be surprised at all. Wouldn't be surprised at all if that's how it goes. I don't get what the karma is, though. I don't get why people want to hate the Mets as much as they do. I don't think many Mets fans have puffed their chests out. I mean, some, of course, but every fan base is going to have fans like that. I don't think any Mets players have openly been cocky or anything like that on the field or in the media. They were a really fun story last year. And of course, they signed Juan Soto, so of course, everybody's going to try to make fun of them for that and trash Juan Soto now. But I don't understand why there's this cosmic energy, this karma, as some people want to put it, against the Mets, the anti-Mets bias. I don't know. Maybe I am living in an echo chamber here, but I don't seem to get it. But it looks like everybody around Major League Baseball is going to get their wish. The Mets look like they are going to choke it away, like they are going to throw away this season. Unbelievable stuff. Game for WAR. Why did you stop? Even All-Star Lindor has developed the habit of botching easy ground balls. The suck is contagious. Yeah. Even Lindor bobbled that ball, I think, in the maybe second inning. He did get the throw off in time to cut down that runner. So, I don't feel like it needed to be highlighted. But, yeah, it's been an issue all year for Lindor. Lindor's definitely taken a step or two backwards this year defensively. No doubt about it. I've cited the broken toe. I think that's part of it. But some of these are just routine. One step to your right and bend down, and it's just popping out of his mitt. So 100%, man. I am not trying to absolve anybody. The whole team gets blame. I mean, I got to credit Lindor for the leadoff home run, giving this team a little bit of energy immediately out of the gate. You got to credit him for pissing on a ball that happens to be right at the first baseman, 5 feet higher, and it might be a 2-run double, and the Mets go up 4-0 in the third. Then later, another line drive to the second baseman that Xavier Edwards, taking after Young, the center fielder for the Nationals last weekend, has turned into an absolute Ozzie Smith clone at whatever position he's going to play and rob the Mets, because that is our lot in life as Mets fans. Everybody has turned into a gold freaking glover against this team this week. And at the end of the day, the Mets have sucked. So you combine it all, teams making plays that are just out of their minds with the Mets sucking, and it's looking like the Mets are going to have an all-time choke job here. Explosive Diarrhea, my man, what is up? He says, no, Mets lost. Brewers will make sure to roll over for the Reds this weekend. Why would the Brewers help the Mets after the Mets knocked them out last year? They won't. That is a great point. I don't think they're really going to think that, but I also could see them being like, who cares really at this point? I mean, they're kind of laying down already. Just one run here against Cincinnati as they go to the bottom of the ninth. And I will actually put that here on the, what do they call that? Gameplay thing. So we can watch it here together. We can watch the Mets' disgusting, terrible season continue to swirl down the drain here on game day. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. Let's watch the Mets continue to die. What a fun time this is. Guys, go ahead and leave this video a like if you've not already. Really appreciate it. Daily Mets content, post-game recap after every Mets game. My goodness, there might only be 2 of these left. The way the Mets are playing, wow. Mark Rapp, Clifford needs to be at first next year and trade Nimmo, pay half the contract. I said it to my buddy on the phone during this game. There needs to be like 50% of this team turned over next year. And I said this a little while ago. You know, this Mets core, I said in 2023 was rotten because of how bad that year was. And I thought they needed to really just flip it over. Just get rid of it. Change. And then they had the miraculous run in 24 in the second half. But let's be honest, from the Final month in September of 2022, when they choked the National League East to the Braves, fizzled out in the wild card round against the Padres, then followed it up with a horrible 2023 where they nearly lost 90 games, and then the first 2.5-3 months of 2024 were miserable. And sprinkled in between all of that were 3 really good months from June of last year through Game 6 of the NLCS, plus April and May of this year. So I'm just saying, what makes more sense? Who is this Mets core truly? The team that they have been the majority of the past 3 seasons, or the small little spurt we got for 3 months last year and for the first 2 months of this year, which honestly, you could poke holes in how good they actually were in April and May of 2025, winning games just barely scratching out enough runs to beat the Pirates at home or against the White Sox, or just barely getting enough good starting pitching while it was still cold out in the Northeast. I'm going to go that it was probably the team that, let's count them, 12 months in 23, 3 months in 24, and another month in 22. That would be about 16 out of the last 24 months. This team has been hot garbage. We go back to the chat again. Sorry, fellas. Sandman Games, Mets playing Flushing Queens, time to flush the toilet. It looks like they have already flushed this season down the toilet. They've done that themselves. So congratulations to the New York Mets on wasting all of our times once again, as the Mets have done so many times. And there is strike 3. Our old friend Wilson Contreras, who loves to kill the Mets, taking strike 3 on the corner to lead off the bottom of the 9th inning, with the Reds leading this game 3-1. Thank you very much, Wilson Contreras. Had that been against us, you know Wilson Contreras is ripping a double or drawing a walk in that bat. Excellent. Thank you so much to the Brewers here for the help. Absolutely don't want to bring this up. Oh, sorry, I already got to that one. David Diaz, there's no heart, no anger, no fight in this team. None whatsoever. It is just a lifeless bunch of guys that don't look like they care. And how poetic that it is Yu Darvish on the mound against Arizona, who are leading that game 2-0 right now. Yu Darvish, who absolutely shoves against the Mets every freaking time out. Like I said, the universe is conspiring against the Mets, but even worse, the Mets just suck. They just can't get out of their own way. Watching this Pete Alonso bobble again at first base. Hits the heel of his glove. This is a professional first baseman? It's not even like it hit the lip of the grass or anything. I'm sick of it, man. I'm so sick of it. Sal Frelick pops out to shortstop. Another Met killer. Excellent. And there are 2 outs. The Mets are 1 out away. Count them, everybody. 1 out away from being knocked out of the final wild card spot. Excellent. And this, of course, we know also is because the Reds own the tiebreaker. And when did that happen? 2 weekends ago, the Mets barely squeak out of that first game on Friday with Edwin Diaz loading the bases and nobody out before the Mets would go on to lose Saturday and Sunday's games. This team is a joke. They don't deserve to be in the playoffs. Danny Caps, typical Mets season. The Mets will be tied with Cincy. Yup, it's coming. Damon, Fax, Tony. Worst season to me as far all due to how they started to end it like this is totally unacceptable. There need to be major changes. I don't know about firing Mendy and Stearns. I just know that there need to be major changes to this roster. And I'm not opposed to firing Mendoza at this point, because you can't look this unprepared and this just bad as a team for as many months as they have without it falling on the manager, the guy at the helm. So if Mendy is gone this offseason, like I said before, I will not bat an eye. It is what it is. Let me see. Jose Perez, we stress-free down here in Philly, boys. Yeah, wait till the playoffs, Jose, and then you guys will definitely choke like you always do. And there it is, guys. There is the final. The Reds have knocked the Mets out of the wild card. They are tied now, so they officially control their own destiny, and the Mets will have to win at least 2 of these games. The Mets will have to win both games now, the rest of this weekend, and they will have to hope that the Reds will lose at least one of them. That is the only path now for the Mets. And we'll see. The Diamondbacks could even come into play as well if they win tonight. So if the Reds win tomorrow, the Mets would have to win tomorrow and hope for the Reds to lose Sunday and still win Sunday themselves. Typical Mets. can never just make it easy on themselves. Control of your own destiny. The Reds are playing the best team in baseball, and they get a 3-hit fucking win. 3 fucking hits for the damn Brewers. I am just beside myself. This is unbelievable. What an effing joke from this team. Oh, goodness, guys. It's just, this is a joke. And as Apps going to be the laughingstock of baseball after this weekend, Yankee fans are going to bring up Soto and no playoffs. Here we go. Juan Soto said he believed in the Mets' future more than he did other teams, and this is what we had to give him. A season where we absolutely choke. Jimmy James C, let's see, it's not just must-win game that they choked. Every time it's been a super important game after a big win, they give a terrible effort. I mean, they are, like I've said, allergic to building off of good momentum. They are allergic to good and nice things. This Mets team has just been spitting the bit all year long. I mean, pretty much even in those early months where they were actually winning in May and in April. But since June, it is so readily apparent. And again, on full display tonight. Runners in scoring position an issue like it has been all season long. 1 for 10 tonight. Fielding errors. Pete Alonso won't go down as an error. Probably should, because it ends up costing them a run there. If he fields that ball properly, maybe has a chance at home plate to cut down the go-ahead run. Of course, before that blow-up inning there in the 5th inning. Fundamental mental errors, whatever you want to call it. Ronnie Mauricio not covering third base there and allowing Agustin Ramirez when he was clearly picked off. And of course, Brandon Sproat not being able to go past the 5th inning, partly a manager decision as well. So 2 more things right there. The starting rotation being in shambles, not having enough reliable relievers, and Carlos Mendoza failing to push the right buttons, or really actually just pushing all of the wrong buttons constantly. This team is dead. They are dead. Game for war. How is it? We stole Stearns, the boy genius, and some pitches from Milwaukee, yet the Brewers are so much better than us. I mean, that is why when people say fire Stearns this year, like, I'm not doing that. And the reason is because you have to believe in the long-term vision. That team has been developing the guys that you see on the field from them right now for years. Guys that Stearns and his scouts drafted and developed in the minor leagues, and now they are reaping the benefits of that. So you got to hope that's what's going to happen here with the Mets. But this type of collapse for this team definitely makes me want to tighten and shorten up that leash, because this is just inexcusable. Marcus Tony, I'd agree with you on Mendy if I did not think the Mets could replace him with Carlos Beltran. I don't know what the allure is of Carlos Beltran. I've heard he's a great baseball mind. We have never seen him manage a Major League Baseball game. I think he may have managed Team Puerto Rico for the World Baseball Classic. I could be wrong about that, but I at this point, man, I need a proven veteran manager. Mendy has not proven that he can get the reins on this team with the tracks going off the rails going, whatever the friggin' expression is, man. I don't know, but I've heard Beltran's name thrown around a ton, and I personally want somebody that actually has some experience, not a buddy guy, not someone that's going to joke around in that dugout, because this is embarrassing. I'm not laughing. I look like I'm laughing or smiling. This is just ridiculous. Sandman games, Mets plus Jets equals long winter. Oh, yeah. And guess who's a Jets fan? This guy right here. David Schultz. Soto's the biggest gas can as a reliever since Armando Benitez. Why wasn't Peterson set up as a long relief guy? I know as a starter he has been bad, but how much worse can it be than effing Soto? Hey, not a bad idea. A lot of people said you should have had David Peterson ready to pitch in relief in this one, especially because they don't think he's going to be starting on Sunday, and you could have went to that. I mean, I know, again, it's a lefty coming in with a bunch of right-handers in the lineup, but to go to Soto there. How about this? Go to Tyler Rogers there. I mean, what are we doing? Go to your best right-handed reliever available. And don't give me this crap Tyler Rogers was pitching yesterday. I don't care. It is put up or shut up time. You need to win this game. That was the most important inning, and you go to Gregory Soto? Or how about the simplest solution to all of it is not pull Brandon Sproat there? And I get it. He had given up 3 consecutive hits in the inning, but he's 1 out away from getting out of it. And maybe it stays 3-2. Instead, you bring in Soto, and that inning couldn't end. And let me just also say this, because I know Pete Alonso had the RBI double in the first inning. Yeah, great job, Pete. Followed up with a freaking strikeout with Soto at third and less than 2 outs. And then after that disastrous bottom of the 5th inning, Pete leading off in the top of the 6th after we just sat and watched the freaking Mets get their teeth kicked in for 27 minutes. That's how long that bottom of the 5th inning was. 27 minutes. Pete Alonso swings at the first effing pitch in the top of the 6th. What? Are you kidding me? Do any of these guys have brains, or are they all the Scarecrow from the Wizard of Oz? Low baseball IQ shit, man. This team has just been doing it all year freaking long. I can't believe it, dude. Game for war. At least Beltran knows baseball, unlike Menbozo. Ooh, that's a nickname. I haven't heard that one for Mendy yet. Menbozo. Yeah, well, you got to think that Beltran knows baseball, right? Should be Hall of Famer. Never will get in because of that cheating scandal with Houston, but... Man, anybody at this point, I don't know what the deal is. I don't know. Absol says our playoff spot is going to be taken over by a beer league team. Dude, the Reds are a better team than the Mets. I'm sorry. The Mets, first of all, lost 2 out of 3 to them in Cincinnati and lost 2 out of 3 to them at home at Citi Field out of the All-Star break. The Reds don't make the mental mistakes that the Mets do. The Reds don't have a patchworked rotation full of rookies that they're hoping are going to carry them. No, they have Hunter Green. They have Nick Lodolo, who struck out 11 batters yesterday in a must-win game. And then today, what do they get? They give up 3 freaking hits against the best team in baseball. And I get the Brewers have nothing to play for, but I'm sorry. The Reds are a better team than the Mets. They are more defensively sound. They have a very pesky lineup that puts the ball in play that I guarantee you, if you set them up in the same position that the Mets were in their 10 at-bats with runners in scoring position, I guarantee you would do better than 1 for fucking 10. Reds are a better team. And if they win the wild card, they earned it. The Mets blew it, but the Reds earned it. It can be both ways. Game for war bench coach John Gibbons, 86 Mets alum. Isn't Gibbons already the bench coach, right? John Gibbons is already the bench coach for Mendy, so I don't know if that's how they're going to do it. I am ready to clean staff. Hefner. Obviously, Eric Chavez and Jeremy Barnes, the hitting coaches. I am ready to clean out this whole staff. The janitor's got to go from Citi Field. Obviously, I don't mean that. Don't fire the janitor. He's a hardworking guy or gal, I'm sure. But my goodness. This is what happens when you have an ending to your season like this. You can't take anything off the table. You can't, sit here and not leave any stone unturned because it is just a disgrace what we are seeing. Johnny D, 63, been a Mets fan since 1970. Never seen anything like this year. The horrible teams of the late 70s had more heart than these clowns. Well said, Johnny. Thank you for tuning in. I only go back to, I'm born in 94, so really my memory starts in 2000. Of course, when the Mets lost the World Series to the Yankees. But I've never seen one in my, what you would say, I guess, 25 years of actually remembering my Mets teams. Thank you for saying that. Since the 70s, Johnny has not seen a team that looks as lifeless and heartless, gutless, without fight than this 2025 version of the New York Mets. And it's looking like they are going to get exactly what they deserve. This Mets team continued to step in shit and said, it's fine. No worries. I'll get it off later. And now they're walking through the house with it, and they're about to get the belt to their ass. Just a joke, man. Game for war. I'd prefer Gibbons as manager with Beltran as hitting coach to learn to manage. I don't know about John Gibbons, and I'm not saying he couldn't be a manager. I just know he never could make it happen there with Toronto when he was their manager out there. I gotta be honest, the guy looks a little slow now. I mean, have you seen him when he's got to go out to make like a pitching change these days? If Mendy gets tossed or anything, exchange lineup cards. Like, I know you don't need to be like physically moving fast and well, but I think I want a little more sparky kind of, up-tempo type of manager than a guy like John Gibbons. But, if the guy knows the X's and O's of baseball, I don't give a shit who it is, man. He could be 100 years old. Get Jimmy Leland out of retirement. I mean, anything at this point. Let's see. Dom Toretto, Stearns, and Mendy better be fired come Monday. It's not happening with Stearns. Maybe Mendoza, the way this is going, but even that I don't believe unless there's some internal conflict between him and the front office. Like maybe he wasn't taking their analytical marching orders, or maybe he was and he doesn't want to do it anymore and he says he's done with this job. That's the only way I see Mendy getting fired in this offseason. Stearns, absolutely not. This is who Steve Cohen wanted. He could not get Theo Epstein out of his role with Major League Baseball. He didn't want to leave. So this was his next best. Stearns is not going anywhere, but he's got a lot of explaining to do come Monday. Or if the Mets somehow make the play. Just kidding. Not happening now, boys and girls. Only mentioned given someone, with manager experience. And no, I don't have a problem with that game for WAR. Honestly, anybody with some manager experience at this point. And honestly, man, I to this point have defended Mendy as much as I could because look at this roster. I mean, you got Ronnie Mauricio, who is not a big leaguer at this point. Don't know if he ever will be. You got no one in center field except for a nice little 2-week stretch of Tyrone Taylor before he got hurt. Cedric Mullins has been a stiff. The bullpen has been up and down, but mostly down. Ryan Helsley coughing up games and multiple runs, homers every time he came in for the first month since he became a Met. The starting rotation, crap. And that's putting it kindly to begin the season. And somehow got out to this ridiculous 2-month stretch at the start of 2025. And it all just dissipated and fell apart in front of our eyes. Injuries, malperformance, return to the norm, whatever you want to call it. So I have tried to give Mendy the benefit of the doubt that Stearns just has not constructed a good roster. But these guys are professional ball players. And for them to continue to make these mental and physical mistakes that they constantly do, to not be able to show fight or build on momentum from game to game, from series to series, week to week, month to month, that's got to fall on the manager at some point. So if it ends up being Mendy as the sacrificial lamb, it is what it is. And I would expect a lot of turnover from this roster going into next season. Livestream, will Diaz opt out? That is about as slam dunk as ever that Diaz is going to opt out after this year. He has had a fantastic season closing ball games out for this team. Diaz is 100% going to opt out. We'll see if the Mets see him as a part of their future here. If he's worth the money that he's going to be looking for to tack on to his contract after this. It's an oblique injury for Brett Beatty. Who knows? I'm guessing he's probably not going to be returning for this series, so his season is likely done because the Mets are probably not making the playoffs at this point. Here's Carlos Mendoza on what the Mets have been doing and in the field.
Loss, just another indication of that.
Yeah, I mean, especially when it looks like they had something on Soto there. As a left-handed pitcher, you got that runner in front of you, and for them to take off like that, and for us not being able to, just either step off or just not giving them a free base there is kind of an inning changer there. Obviously, the single after they took third base again is a completely different inning. So, we continue to make those mistakes, and it's costing us games.
Carlos, you've talked a lot about lacking fundamentals and giving teams extra outs. Was tonight, when you look at the loss, just
There we go. I'm pressing all the wrong buttons here is what I was trying to say. Yeah, continues to cost you games, man. You've been saying this for about 3.5+ months. What have you done to change it? What have you, as the manager of the New York fucking Mets, have you done to change it? Has there been any punishment? Have you benched anybody? You've just watched and continued to repeat the same freaking soundbite game after game after game where the Mets seize defeat from the jaws of victory and say, we got to be better. We got to be better. We got to get him going. We got to get him going. It's costing us games. We're running out of time. Have you said this to the players? Or do you just say it to the media? Because I'm sick of hearing it. And I am sure you all are sick of hearing it too. Guys, go ahead and leave this video a like. Go ahead and do that now. Really appreciate y'all tuning in. It is a brutal night for the Mets as they now have lost control of their own destiny in the playoff race. And if you ask me, I think it's over. I don't think they're going to have it. The way they came out tonight, the way they have played the Marlins all year, the way they have played in big, important games and series all of 2025. The Reds win tonight. The Diamondbacks are leading their game, and they're honestly an afterthought to me, even though they very well could end up finishing ahead of the Mets for the wild card chase. But the Reds just basically need to win at least 2 more. I mean, they win 2 more, and it's over. They win out this weekend and sweep the Brewers, it's over. if the Mets don't win at least one more game than Cincinnati this weekend, these final 2 games, then the Mets will officially have completed the choke job that we have all been watching in slow motion for many, many months now. Obvious as I've ever heard from Carlos Mendoza, we've got to win the next 2 games and see what happens. Yeah. It's probably about the most obvious thing I've ever heard. Let's see, explosive diarrhea. Even Davey underachieved, as in Davey Johnson, I'm guessing you mean, with the 80s Mets. This franchise, man, they're cursed. They traded their soul in 69. Maybe it was in 86 for those 2 World Series. I don't know. Ball going under Buckner's leg. Someone in the middle of New York City went to a crystal ball, freaking, what do they call those things? And he asked for that wish. Please let the Mets win this 86 World Series. The ball went through Buckner's leg, and we have been paying the price as Mets fans ever since. Nothing but pure torture, finding new ways to lose since 1962. Livestream, no accountability. Mendy's fault. 100% falls on the manager. That is what I'm saying. I have tried to excuse Mendy because of the guys on this roster, because that the players have just simply not gotten the job done themselves in the field, at the plate, on the mound. But it comes to a point where the accountability needs to be more closely looked at, and that 100% falls on the manager. Explosive diarrhea, 86 Mets almost choked and imploded because of too much partying and drinking. Never understood the love for Davey. There you go. There's a good point, man. And I mean, that's, of course, a long time ago now, and the Mets do end up winning that 86 World Series, but it's almost like the Mets tempted the baseball gods that year, and they said, we'll let you have this one, but we are going to torture you and your fan base for the rest of eternity. It feels like my soul, my Mets fan soul, has just been put through the depths of hell once again. It is just unbelievable. Marcus, now I'm not on the right, but the Gary Cohen BS in Chicago was embarrassing. I just wish he didn't say anything at all. I really do. It's just another headline surrounding this team that doesn't involve winning games, and that is the last thing they needed. So I am not going to blame him, but I don't like it myself either. Brett Beatty says there's only 2 days left, so if there's any possibility of me playing, I'm going to play. Yeah, we'll see if it even matters, because, of course, the Reds did what they needed to do, and the Mets played like garbage. And speaking of garbage, I'm sorry, but Pete Alonso really cost the Mets in this game. I know he had the RBI double, but 2 really poor at-bats after that. And I'm sorry, 3 poor at-bats, including 2 strikeouts, and first pitch swinging after the 27-minute bottom of the 5th inning for the Marlins, and, of course, bobbling that ball instead of having a play at the plate. Let's hear from Pete.
2 games to go here.
I mean, yeah. I mean, you gotta do what we can to win. I mean, that's it. I mean, whether it's, today we had I won't call it desperation, but high sense of urgency.
Did you? I didn't see it. Did any of you?
High sense of urgency every single day, because it's the big leagues, and you gotta do whatever you can to win games every day. So, it's unfortunate that we lost this one, but gotta come back tomorrow and go get them.
Yeah, just more players speak. It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate while we are getting gut punched as fans. I didn't see urgency. I didn't see the urgency or fire that he claims they came out and played with. I saw it from one guy. I saw it from Francisco Lindor. That's about the only guy. Other than that, I didn't see that urgency. I didn't see that fire that he claims this team played with here tonight. I'll give it to Brandon Sproh. He came out and he looked masterful for the first 4 innings of this game. And I think it's a crime that Carlos Mendoza decided to pull him at the first sign of trouble there in the 5th. And I understand. You could go back and say, well, what about Wednesday when Jonah Tong blew up in the 3rd inning and that game unraveled there? I don't care. I'm sorry. Brandon Sproh is light years ahead in terms of development than Jonah Tong. I have seen more out of Brandon Sproh here in his 4 innings today before that 5th than I have seen in Jonah Tong in any of his 4 or 5 MLB starts. I don't know how you pull him for Soto there, especially with the right-handers coming up. It's just embarrassing. Jahan Ortiz says, Mullins shouldn't even be playing, man. Every time this guy plays, he always strikes out or doesn't do shit. But Cedric Mullins is going to go down as one of my least favorite Mets of all time. He is a complete stiff. And like I've said before, watch him next year. He's going to go to Atlanta. He's going to maybe go to the Marlins. He's going to go to the Nationals. And he's going to absolutely rake against the Mets and make game-saving catches, because that is just how it goes for the New York Mets. He is hot garbage, Jan. I am totally with you. Games for War, Mullins looks like a deer in headlights when he's batting. He's not made for New York. Not at all. And, it's funny you say that, Game for War. I've never been able to really articulate it here, but he does look like a deer in headlights when he's at the plate. He just looks wide-eyed and bushy-tailed, and like he is just Not prepared for the moment whatsoever. I don't get it, but totally agree with you there. Lightstream says, how much for a Cedric Mullins jersey? I need a new dish rack. I like that. Yes, let's get those as souvenirs next year, because we know the Mets won't be playing another home game at Citi Field in 2025. That is for sure. That could be the giveaway at the gates at Citi Field next year. Cedric Mullins jerseys, but recommended to be used as dish rags, maybe to dry your car off. Even that, I don't know if I would risk using it on a nice shiny car. Probably scratch it with Mullins' name on the back. Marcus says, I've said it before elsewhere, and I'll say it again. I don't believe all of Mendoza's decisions on who to play or when to pull the pitcher are his alone. Yes, I 100% believe that part of this is on the analytics in the front office, David Stearns and his scouts giving him information about what he should do. And I think he leans into it sometimes. I think sometimes he goes with his gut. But like I have also said in these streams before, I think that it doesn't matter what button he pushes, it doesn't come up to be the right one, and that has to fall on the players. And so that is why many times this year when I have heard fire Mendoza, Mendy's got to go, I have tried to say there has to be some player responsibility too. At the end of the day, he's not in the batter's box, he's not in the field, he's not on the mound. But the player responsibility, the whole idea that these guys just look lethargic and disinterested and with no urgency, that falls on a manager to not be able to rally his clubhouse at the most important freaking time of the year. Explosive Diarrhea Tony, don't be shocked Yankees get Diaz or Pete. Would not be at all. Would not be shocked at all to see the Yankees do that. They are going to be in need of a closer this offseason. They could definitely use a first baseman. Pete would fit in very nicely and probably hit 50 bombs for the Yankees at that Little League stadium. So that would be heartbreaking, but I would not be surprised at all. Explosive. Yankees have $745 million they were going to give to Soto that they can give to Tucker, Pete, or Diaz, or 2 of 3. That is true, but let's not forget Cody Bellinger is a free agent. Trent Grisham is a free agent as well. So, they definitely have some moves to think about, but Yankees are going to the playoffs. Mets, on the other hand, probably not. So we are thinking about the offseason well before the Yankees will have to. That is for sure. Game for War said this is next year. I'll only be able to afford a Mullins or Siri jersey. 95% off. I'll take it. Musicum, the Mets haven't had urgency in months. And that falls on the manager, guys. There is just something rotten about this clubhouse. There is something that just stinks like 5-week-old tuna that's been sitting in the sun in Dallas, Texas in that clubhouse. And I don't know what it is. But something that they had last year, that magic elixir, they do not have it this year. It is the exact opposite this season. They look like they are just going through the motions for months on end now. And I thought maybe a big 2 out of 3 in Chicago this past week would get them going and get up for a series with the Miami freaking Marlins. But as it turns out, what I knew all along but didn't want to believe, the Marlins are the Mets' daddies. Once again, going back to 2007 and 2008, history repeats itself, and I don't know why I tried to lie to myself about it. Lightstream Cohen should do his Citi Field Carnival with a dunk tank with Mendy in it. The line would stretch all the way to Long Island. I would definitely sign up to do a dunk tank with Cedric Mullins sitting in. Let's see, who else? Jose Siri, of course, not on the team anymore. There's a handful of Mets on this roster that I would absolutely do that to. I don't know about Mendy. I mean, I think Mendy is definitely responsible here, but I think there's a few other people I'd put in the front of that line before him. Explosive Diarrhea says, I can't even wear my Mets hat to the gym without someone making a comment. Forget wearing a Jets hat. I just am not wearing sports memorabilia at this point, period. I'm not wearing Mets. I am not wearing Jets because I can't take the pain anymore. They give me enough doses of pain and suffering themselves. I don't need to hear it from other fans and people in my life or just strangers on the street either. So I am completely with you, Explosive. Maybe you could get a, New York Liberty hat. Hey, New York Liberty, stand up, represent. Champions of the WNBA last year. Hey, New York hasn't gone without a title in very long. Just last year, the New York Liberty took it home. Oh my God, I hate it here. Musicum, I definitely believe something happened in that clubhouse. And I mean, the only explanation is they signed Juan Soto to that massive deal. And that is what everybody wants to say. Soto changed the clubhouse chemistry. I don't know how you could say that. The guy is going out and putting up numbers. I don't know how you could really say that unless there's just something that we are not privy to. But that's what every Mets hater wants to say, and even some Mets fans. that Soto came in and this clubhouse has changed. I don't know. I can't explain it, but man, I can't wait to hear some of these little inklings, these little drips and drops that are going to come out from the writers of this team at the end of the year. And we get the true story. Hopefully we do, because we need to know how to change it for next year, because this is just unacceptable. Game 4, Marlins just wanted to win to troll us, and they did. Yep, push Sandy Alcantara back. He pitches into the 8th inning. F the Marlins, F Sandy Alcantara. Wish nothing but horrible, horrible luck on the baseball field for the rest of their franchise's history, and as well as the players on that team. I have nothing but disdain for them for gaming the way they do. Of course, you don't take it away. Like, hey, they have a job as professional ball players. They've been playing good baseball, but to push Sandy Alcantara back when they could have had him pitch yesterday to keep their season alive, instead they set him up for this weekend against the Mets to ruin our season. That is Bush League. That is absolutely embarrassing. So I wish nothing but horrible things, baseball related, of course, only, to the Florida Marlins and the rest of that organization. But again, it's the Mets' fault. They put themselves in this position, and they played like dog crap once again here tonight. Let's see. Musicum, I think there's a division in the clubhouse. I don't know what it is. But it really does seem that way. It does not seem like one cohesive unit the way they did last year. They just don't look like it. The way they would pour out of the dugout last year after big hits. The home run by Lindor when they were getting no hit in Toronto. The home run from Lindor after they tied the game took the lead against the Braves when they clinched that game. Of course, the Pete Alonso homer in the wild card against the Brewers. The Philly grand slam for Lindor in the NLDS. You just don't see that hype and emotion from the rest of this team, from the rest of this dugout, like you did last year. And I can't understand why. It's mostly the same guys. It's the most important guys. And I can't hear this, well, you should have brought back Jose Iglesias. Jose Iglesias is hitting 225 with the Padres this year. Would we still be saying OMG with Jose Iglesias if he was hitting 220 for us this year? No, we'd be trying to run him out of town saying he was a one-year wonder. So I can't say it's because they didn't bring Jose Iglesias back, or Harrison Bader back, or Luis Severino, or Jose Quintana. And it leads me to believe that the core of this team is just rotted. Lindor, Alonso, Nimmo, McNeil, Soto's first year. Was that what turned it all? I don't know. But man, I am just sick of seeing it, sick of thinking about it and talking about it. But on we go. 2 more games of this crap. We will see what happens. It's looking very bad for the New York Mets, ladies and gentlemen. Guys, leave this video a like. If you have not already, go ahead and do that now. Really appreciate y'all being here. This has been a fun hour with you guys. As miserable as the circumstances are, I really do appreciate all of you being in here, commenting, leaving likes. It really, really helps the channel out big time. We have grown tremendously since I started doing the streams here again this year. I started with 1,200 subscribers back in April, and we are approaching 3,000. Really want to get to 3,000 by the end of the year. I thought we would have some playoff coverage for this team, but it's not looking that way. So definitely subscribe if you're not already. Send this to a Mets fan in your life, a family member, a friend, whomever that is going through the doldrums that we are all also going through. Let's wrap up with a couple more chats here. Musicum, I think there's division in the clubhouse. I already got that one. I apologize. Let's see. Busy Brown, no OMG song, LMAO. It could be, man. They should have just kept the OMG song, bought the rights to it from Jose Iglesias. Wah says, bring in Giambi to bring up Soto in the 4-hole and let him play first. He has a clutch bat and strong glove, maybe a heavily incentive-laden deal. 15 years, $600 million for Giambi. That's like the old call to Mike Francesa when they used to prank call him and say, you think Jason Giambi could manage the Yankees? Oh my God, that was the best. Yes, I love it. Bring him in. Oh my God. Explosive diarrhea this season might have proved last year Mets just went on a 1-year Cinderella run. And like I said before, guys, you had the collapse in 22 in September, fizzled out, lost the playoff round to the Padres despite home field advantage. You had a miserable 2023, and you had a miserable first 2.5 months of 2024. We are talking about a 5, maybe 6 month period from last June through those playoffs, and then, of course, the first 2 months of this season where they have actually looked like a competent and good baseball team. And again, the first 2 months of this year, don't let the record fool you. They were having all these issues that have now reared their ugly heads. They were just able to mask it a little bit by having their record that was 20 games over 500. So what do you think is more likely? The team that has been playing like crap for the majority of the last 38, 40 months, or the one that had a little 6-month run? Seems pretty obvious to me, man. Lightstream McNeil is the easiest one to move from because McNeil is the easiest one to move on from because of his contract replacement with Jet next year. Yeah, McNeil, I think, is gone. I think McNeil has been an issue for this team for a long time. He's been a little productive this year, but I think the just negative energy he brings has always been an issue for this team. I called for him to be traded before this season. They played better without him down the stretch last year and into the playoffs. And then with this year, the first 2 months of the year while he was injured, the Mets were actually playing good baseball. And I can't correlate it directly to Jeff and say, well, since June when he returned, the Mets have been a dumpster fire. I can't just say that, but look at the numbers. Go see when Jeff returned in late May and see what the Mets have done since then. JD Peralta shuts the Reds down Sunday. Let's get the next two. From your lips to God's ears, JD. I am not a believer. I got to be honest at this point. I'm going to continue to watch and do our streams here, but man, they have got to buy me back in, and I've been saying this for months now, and if it hasn't happened yet, what should make me believe it's going to happen now after another embarrassing night from them? Jake Wilmer, why in any Rose Mullins out there tonight? Again, they said Taylor couldn't play 4 consecutive days, just coming back from his hamstring injury. And again, look, I hate Cedric Mullins playing tonight as much as anybody, but even with Tyrone Taylor, it really wouldn't have made a difference. Cedric didn't come up in any big spots. He had a guy on first with no outs in the second inning, I believe it was. He did strike out, but I don't think it would have impacted or changed the game as much as we would have needed it to. Unfortunately, this one falls on Mendoza for pulling Sprode as early as he did. It falls on Soto for coming in and pitching like crap. And then the constant defensive miscues, errors, mental, physical, whatever they were. And of course, the lineup going to sleep against Sandy Alcantara after they fell behind. So it is what it is, and this is the situation that we are in. Musica, Mets ruin good hitters. Just look at Nimmo and McNeil. Yeah, well, they have definitely changed since they first came up back in, years ago. I think it was Nimmo in 2016 and McNeil 2018 or something around that time. But, yep, Mets have a philosophical issue on top of all the other ones that they have. And I have mental issues because I continue to watch these games. All right, guys, that is going to do it. We'll be back tomorrow with another post-game stream. More torture here on my channel, so if you're not subscribed, be sure to do that. Post-game recap after every Mets game and continuing coverage even into the offseason. So, guys, thank you so much. It's a absolutely horrible day for the night for the Mets. They lose, they get embarrassed, and the Reds win. Looking like the Diamondbacks might also win their game, and at this point, I just don't see how it happens, but you got to believe, or whatever they say. I don't freaking know anymore. But thank you guys so much for tuning in. Thanks for all the comments. Leave this video a like if you guys have not already done so. Please do that on your way out. And we'll be back with another post-game recap after tomorrow's game. That's going to do it for now, though, guys. Till next time, I'm Tony Metro. Stay true to the orange and blue.